How about that Dogs Cast live from Jekyll Island? It is quite breezy out here today, y'all. We have, 30, maybe 40 mile per hour winds out on the beach. And the surf is also, we're at high tide right now, but it's also a king tide. So if you're down at the water's edge right now, you are really looking at a pretty volatile situation. Like, you can't get on the beach right now because it's just, the tide is so high. The boardwalk, is being swallowed up by the ocean right now. And it has to do with the storms off the coast. It has to do with just the fact that we're looking at a king tide. So there's a lot going on, but the girls are right over there hanging out in the pool and swimming with their mama. And I thought, I'm here with a puppy. I'm sort of babysitting the puppy. So she's in the room behind me here, and I figured I'd just jump on here. I've never done a vertical live here on YouTube, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes. But if anybody's out there and anybody has any chat or anything y'all want to do, just drop it in here, and we'll get after it. I will talk about it a little bit. Georgia obviously headed to Auburn this week, and since we're traveling, one of the priorities, of course, because not only do I love Georgia, but the missus, she's a huge Bulldog fan. And one of the priorities when we're figuring out when and where and how we're going to travel is, if we're traveling over a game day Saturday, that is part of the plan. So we had to make sure we were going to be set up in a place where we had access to the games, as many games as we wanted to watch. And we're in a good spot here. It's good. I like it. Like I said, the pool, I'm on the balcony, so the pool's right out there, like literally right over there, and the girls are having a good time. So I'm just here talking a little bit of little Georgia football right now. On a whim. I had no idea if it would work out to where we could do a live stream from the beach. But the vertical lives are pretty cool, so this is the first one that we're trying. Thomas is in here. Go Dogs, buddy. If you haven't watched the podcast from earlier this week, I did everything early. I know I usually do it on Wednesdays. But if you missed the live on Monday, it's up as a video. So you can go back and watch that video and catch the podcast for this week. Or, as always, you can just download the audio version of the podcast, which, by the way, would be very helpful because the more downloads we get on the audio version only, then the more people, see it. Like, outside of the YouTube world. The YouTube world is great, and the community over here is fantastic. But I know that there are more people who, talk Bulldog ball, and maybe they aren't on YouTube for whatever reason. That kind of seems weird in today's world, because it seems like everybody's on YouTube with YouTube TV and streaming, and every person who has children that I know, their children exist on YouTube, so, but just the same, YouTube's great. And there is the audio version of the podcast too, so you can go back and catch that. I did do it this week. We just had to do it on Monday as opposed to doing it on Wednesday. And we even did an SEC Powers Hour this week. We did that live on Tuesday, and that's up on the channel too. So if you want to get our picks for the weekend and all my thoughts on Georgia Auburn, those are up as videos. But if anybody wanted to, have any kind of conversation around the game or anything specific, questions or anything, just drop them in the chat and we'll knock them out. Young Citrus, what's up, bud? That's my LSU guy. I say guy. I don't mean to assume, but I'm assuming that you are a young man, LSU fan in the chat. I appreciate you dropping in, man. And yeah, you're right. We got the win against Kentucky. And, that's one of those games where it's like I talked about on the pod, you're still dealing with an SEC opponent. So you show up, you take care of your business the way you're supposed to, and you'll be in good shape, And that's what Georgia did. So that's good. I feel good about that. And I feel good about the way they did it. Because they showed up and, were not sloppy. The game kicked at noon, and they started playing at noon. And I think that's important for a young team. And there's no doubt this team's young. So they showed me something with their ability to show up, handle like the potential for a sleepy start, come out there, get a good fast start to the game, take control of the game in the first quarter. They won it across the middle 8 by, Kentucky missing a field goal, and then they forced a fumble to start the third quarter, and then took it down and scored another touchdown. And that's what good teams do. So the game was over at that point. So Georgia showed me a lot in that Kentucky game. And now, now with Auburn, I mean, I know they're at home, and I know it's at night, and all those things that people want to say about the Georgia or Auburn at night being spooky, but there's nothing like, it's still just football, and it's still just the players, and Georgia has better players, they have a better team, and they should win the game. And that will be the first of 3 games, in my view, that are going to tell us whether or not Georgia's actually a contender for any level of championship this year. Because that means you're going to go on the road, you're going to take care of an Auburn team that has potential to be dangerous, but that you should beat. So you knock that one out. Then you get Ole Miss at home, which will probably be a top 10 matchup. And then you get Florida. And we saw what happened with Texas, but the question around Florida is, and I've said before the season even started, their top 22 are quality football players. They have a good defense, they have weapons on offense, they have the quarterback that can make it go. But if they're injured at all, or if you force them to play their depth, then you have an advantage. And Georgia can do that. So Georgia should win that game too, even though it's at Jacksonville and everything else I just mentioned. If the Dogs do what they should do, which is win the next 3 games, then you can look at Georgia and say, yeah, that's an SEC title contender. And if you're an SEC title contender, then you are a national championship contender. This is the crux of the season right now, what we're about to see over these next 3 games. So I understand it's just Auburn, but it's still something they need to go handle the same way they handled Kentucky, right? It just speaks to the kind of team that you are. And that's important. It's important, especially for a young team like Georgia. And Kirby sounds good. Like, he sounds like he knows he has an opportunity to do something special with this team. And what I mean by that is they're young and they're going to make mistakes, and he knows that. And by now, we all should know that too. But they are talented enough that if they grow and learn and improve, their talent can take over, and then they literally can beat anybody they play. But that requires daily work. You have to commit to the process to improve. And if you do, again, he could take this team that had so many questions and still get them back and play for championships at the end of the year. So the potential is there. We'll see if they can meet it. Let's take a look at the chat here. Yeah, you're right, Young. If Georgia pulls it together and they do what they're supposed to do, they can beat anybody. I firmly believe that. I also firmly believe that if they mess around, they could lose to 2 or 3 teams on the schedule, and that's the line I've been walking all year. And some people take it for what it is and they understand it. Other people are like, you are nuts. Georgia's going to dominate everybody. And then there are folks who are saying, you're a Disney dog and you just say everything's rosy all the time. And if you've been here for half a minute, I think that's not true. So everybody has their own opinion, and that's fine. Theirs is as good as mine. Difference is, I choose to show up here and hang out with you good people and, sort of put my face and name out there about it. So not everybody else does that. Let's see. Bree loves Dandy's World. Can you say hi, Dre? Is it Dre? She's my sister, and she really wants you to say her name. Did I say it right? Hello, Dre. Drea? Drea? Either way, thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great day. I'm having a good day. This is actually really cool. The breeze is nice. We've got a heavy overcast because of the storms off the coast, or the building storms off the coast. So I think we're going to get some rain later today. But this breeze makes it bearable to be out here. It's not too muggy. You know, it's in the mid 70s. So a lot of moisture in the air because of the overcast, but pleasant. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do this every day. That'd be cool. Again, this is my first vertical live. So if you're here, you're seeing a little bit of HBTFDAWGSCAST history, right? So thanks for being here. Let's see. Young says, for LSU, I smell a trap game. Dual threat QBs give trouble always. And we need to figure out things on offense to get our backup some reps. That'd be great. I'm telling you, that is the trick. And it's so hard because all these games inside the conference are so close now. Because parity. Thank you, transfer portal. I don't even think it's NIL. I just think it's transfer portal. Because players don't want to sit and wait. They want to play. And sometimes that's a good choice for them. Think A.J. Harris, if you're familiar with Georgia football, who now plays at Penn State. Top tier corner. Couldn't get on the field at Georgia. So I think that, and this is not me talking about A.J. Harris. I think about A.J. Harris as a quality football player and a quality young man. With that said, he couldn't get on the field at Georgia. And that's because of the way Kirby runs the program and what they demand of one another. He could walk on the field at Penn State and play. That tells you what Penn State was, and how he earned his spot. Now, he kept it through his play. But when you see what Penn State did this past weekend against UCLA, it's pretty clear that the standards for what is required at Penn State are different than what is required at Georgia. And again, that is not a knock on A.J. Harris. Quality football player, whether he's at Georgia or Penn State. But the difference is, at Penn State, he could walk out there and play because he was tougher than those other dudes. He just wasn't Georgia good when he was at Georgia. Again, not knocking him. I think it says more about the programs than it does about the player. And players like AJ want to go play because they understand, man, I'm almost making it here, but I'm not. I can go somewhere else and be the man. And that's what happened in his case. And just look at Damon Wilson in Missouri. Again, a rotational player the last 2 years. This was supposed to be the year he was the man. And at Georgia, he would have played a lot this year. He still chose to pack his bags and go to Missouri. And he has been having a good season so far because he could walk out there and be the man. Rotational here at Georgia, the man at Missouri. Go back a couple years. Was it Jeremy Johnson, the defensive end that left Georgia and went to Florida State? Same thing, could not get on the field in Athens. Goes to Florida State, was part of that team that went undefeated a couple years ago for them in the regular season, became a first-round draft pick. No one ever doubted his talent. They doubted the other stuff, the intangible stuff, the stuff that even if he had it, wasn't up to the level of what Georgia had, and rotational was the best you could do. And he was playing at Georgia, just not a lot. I think it says more about the programs, not the players. The players are just wanting an opportunity, and who can really blame them? So, back to the parity point, thank you, transfer portal. And good for these guys. They have a chance to go prove what they're worth. What else we got going on here? Joe Shalhoub, someone will drop the ball right before scoring and lose the game for them probably. For who? Georgia? I don't know. I say weird stuff happens at Auburn all the time. And if that happens at Auburn and Georgia loses the game that way, or Auburn loses the game that way, then you, friend, win a cookie. Because I haven't heard anybody say that was going to happen. Keep It Coming said hi. What's up, Keep It Coming? Good to see you in here. I appreciate you dropping in. Again, this is our first vertical live we've ever done on the channel. So if y'all think it's cool, hit the thumbs up. Let me know. Van Buren will most likely start next year. And we've seen what he's got. Hi, baby. We've seen what he's got. That's the kid that was at Mississippi State last year, if I'm not mistaken. One thing we know about him is he can throw it around. I mean, that's what happened in Athens. They came in here and slung it all over the place. So he should be the guy, a year under his belt in the system, learn what they're doing. I think he'll be a good player for them. But it's just like Georgia or Alabama or whoever. If your number one quarterback goes down, the guy that's your number two, most of them don't have a whole lot of experience. And, I mean, shoot, just look at what Oklahoma did last week. Mateer goes down, and the kid they got backing him up, he's a fine player, you know, but he is not the kind of guy who's going to do what Mateer did. And frankly, in that game, even though they put up 44 points, he looked out of sorts. He looked scared, you know. So, and what about the Red River? What about Texas being favored, unranked and favored over Oklahoma? Make that make sense. I mean, I get that the quarterback play is the reason, but that defense that Oklahoma has shown us so far and the offense that Texas has shown us so far would lead me to believe that Oklahoma's going to have the better part of that battle. So if that's the case, then that quarterback play would have to be awful to make up the difference. We'll see. We shall see. James Dumas Johnson. Yes, the linebacker that transferred out to play. Absolutely, keep it coming. That's another good example, a perfect example. The Gilberry Archive says hello. Well, hello. I'm happy you're here with us. Young Citrus, he transferred here to LSU. Yep. Yeah, I don't know about all that. I think Mateer's confirmed to be playing. Yes. Yeah, I agree. I heard that yesterday. Or Tuesday? What's today? Today's Thursday. So I guess I heard that on Tuesday that we thought he was going to play. And I talked about it on the SEC Powers Hour with Joe and how I thought that if he's back, even him at 80%, as long as he can hold the ball and be secure with it, then the opportunity for Oklahoma to really do some things goes up a lot, I think. Goes up exponentially, their ability to win that game. So what are y'all doing? Obviously, we're on vacation, and I would be in the pool right now, except I'm babysitting the dog. So my babies are over there swimming, just hanging out. Well, I think right now they're in the hot tub. Oh, I wish I was in the hot tub. Yeah, but they're over there having a good old time. Y'all hanging out on y'all fall break? That's what it is for us. The girls are on fall break, and it always coincides with my youngest daughter's birthday. Her birthday is Saturday, so we're going to be celebrating her birthday and then watching the dogs kick the tar out of Auburn again, which would make me happy. It's her birthday. I want that present. How does that sound? Is that too much to ask? I tell y'all, we went out to the beach earlier. We've been out to the beach like 2 or 3 times. Not to like be at the beach, but to just walk the beach. Because here at Jekyll, that's what we like to do. We just like to be on the beach. And we went out for sunrise, and then we went back out there earlier and checked out the high tide. And like I said, it is crazy. But my beard, the wind is blowing so hard. My goatee, I call it a goatee. Other people call it a beard. It was getting blown, folded back on itself. It's not that long. But that wind was having its way with me out there, man. Okay. So, what about, I mean, we can talk about anything y'all want to talk about because there's some good games in the conference. And again, we broke them all down on the SEC Powers Hour. But the LSU and South Carolina game, I find intriguing. Mostly because at this point, I view South Carolina as a bit of a wild card. Like, I thought that Lenora Sellers would make them dangerous at any point. But I still just haven't seen enough consistently from them running the football and defending the run to make me think, okay, that's a team that's going to be in the upper half of the conference. But when Sellers plays, obviously that X factor makes them more dangerous. And going on the road at LSU is a good challenge. Now, LSU's defense has been great, but the offense just has not figured it out yet. And some of that, I have to believe, has to be because of Nussmeier and his injuries and stuff. But I think even though Sellers could make it interesting, keep them in it for a minute, maybe Dylan Stewart really gets after Nussmeier and slows down that offense. Maybe they keep it close. At the end, though, at night at LSU, I think LSU wins that game. But it's an interesting game. You got Georgia-Auburn. You got the Red River, which is awesome. What's another one? Arkansas and Tennessee. Now, that game should be great, but obviously Arkansas fired Pittman, and they're figuring it out with Bobby Petrino right now. Arkansas is going to be different. I don't know that they're going to be any better. So I think we clearly have to look at that and think that Tennessee has the advantage there. They should get that win. But the game that has my full attention is that Alabama-Missouri game, because, and I talked a lot about this on the shows this week, that's a trap game for Alabama. I mean, they have been up so high the last couple of weeks, getting up for Georgia the way they did. Then they answered the bell against Vanderbilt in a game that everybody pointed to and said, oh, look out. Well, they answered the bell there, got that job done. And then now they have to go on the road to Missouri. And Joe pointed out on the SEC Powers Hour that the week after that, Tennessee's coming. So they are right in the dip. Can you get up again for a third consecutive week for a big game at 11 a.m. kick on the road, knowing that Tennessee's the next week? Are you mentally mature, mentally tough enough? Are you mature enough as a football team, as a coaching staff, to stay level-keeled enough to go out there and handle business the way you're supposed to handle business? If you're an Alabama fan, this is how you're thinking. On the road at Missouri. They can do it. Good teams go win that game. But Missouri is dangerous. They can flat run it. I like their quarterback a lot, and they're the number one defense in the country. Now, you can talk to me all you want to about who they've played. I understand. But assignments are assignments. And if you're doing your assignments right, then the only reason you lose is because you're outmanned. So, do you believe that Missouri is just flat outmanned when it comes to what's going on with Alabama? I don't know. Missouri's got a decent roster. And we know Alabama's got players. The question about them is, can they just keep it rolling? Just keep doing what you're supposed to do. I'm going to be paying attention to that one. And just like for Georgia, if I'm going to give Georgia credit for doing what they had to do against Kentucky Saturday and what I hope they do against Auburn on Saturday, then I have to give credit to Alabama if they go and handle their business. I mean, because, good football, quality, leadership and character and all those things is the same for everybody. So that's where I am on that. Bakerman done slid in here. What's up, bud? Happy to see you in here. I told you I didn't know if I'd be able to get on here. It looks like I was able to sneak in here. Just to catch you up, my girls are over there playing in the pool, and they wanted one of us to go. Hey, no ma'am. They wanted one of us to go, and they were asking for mama. So that means I'm babysitting the puppy, and she's getting frustrated that she can't go get in the pool too, but she can't go get in the pool. So we're hanging out here, and I figured I'd kill some time talking football. So we're just talking Georgia or anything else you want to talk about. Bakerman says he's got Tennessee beating Alabama. They've beaten them, 2 out of the last 3 years? So at this point, it's not a surprise if they do. And is it back at Tennessee? No, I think this one's at Tuscaloosa. This year's at Tuscaloosa. So if Tennessee goes in there and wins, that'll be a big statement for them. No doubt. That's the thing. Even if Alabama does manage to beat Missouri on the road, they have to get up again for a Tennessee team that is not scared of Alabama anymore. So even if they have to go to Tuscaloosa, they'll have to get up for that one too. And then the question becomes, can they do it again? See, Baker, man, I love it. Being a member of the channel, you've got those custom emojis. And I'm just going to tell y'all, I love that. if you are a member of the channel and you come into any of my lives or leave a comment under any of my videos and you drop those special emojis in there, good on you. I love that. That's why they're there. And it's nobody else. Listen, maybe I'm just being a little uppity about it, but I put a lot of thought into which one of those I could make, and I need to make some more if I'm being honest with you. But I think I have the best custom emojis in the game, especially in the Georgia world. These custom emojis are the top custom emojis, for whatever that's worth. Whatever that's worth. So yeah, we took in beach sunrise this morning. Everybody had a good breakfast, so we're doing good. Now we're doing a little swim time. Lunch is on the way. I'm not sure what we're going to do for lunch. I'm not sure if we're going to go explore, look around, find something. I guess we will when everybody gets hungry. We're just chilling, having a good day. Thursday. Happy Thursday on fall break week. So we're doing good. I hope y'all doing good today. I appreciate y'all hanging out with us here for a little while. Good stuff. Salute 3-8. Nice. Nice. I wonder, and I'm also curious, I assume, this is my first vertical live, so I assume that the notifications work the same for these. And if they do, then awesome. And if they don't, then that would be something that's interesting to know. Because what they tell you as a creator, like from the creator side of it, is that if you go vertical live, you can, I did this on a whim, so I didn't set this up, but you can transition or stream in both places at the same time, so vertical and horizontal. So people who discover you on the vertical feed can then jump over and follow along in the live on the horizontal feed, if they choose. So, and maybe they'll choose to join and, you know, subscribe and all that stuff. So it's, I don't know, this is an experiment as much as anything. Unplanned, unscheduled, just showed up. So, yeah, it came through. Good. I appreciate you making time to jump in here with us for a minute. Again, I'm on here with no purpose. It's just, if somebody wanted to talk a little college football, we are here to do it. So it's so weird too, the vertical lives, because when I show up to do like a normal live stream, like I have a good plan. You know, I don't have a script or notes or anything, but I have a good plan. You know, like I want to talk about this, and this. And the vertical live, again, this is not probably a good example because it was just on a whim. But because I wasn't sure about Wi-Fi, all the things, right? But everything seems to be holding up good, so maybe we'll schedule a little live time. Maybe we'll do that. That might be fun. We can jump out here and talk about whatever the news of the day is or something. I haven't looked at any news today. Talk about news of the day. I haven't looked on X. I haven't looked on Facebook. I mean, whatever. I'm on vacation. I haven't been looking that closely. But if something major is breaking, I would need to come on here and say a little something about it, I guess. But the live stream, I don't know. I think I kind of like it. Do I think we're going to win the SEC championship? I did before the season started. Hey, Junie, it's okay. Come on back. I did before the season started because that was my prediction. I had in here, and if you'll remember, I had, what's up, the real too smart. What's up? I did pick Georgia to win the SEC before the season started. I picked them to play LSU, and right now LSU's making me worry about that. They got to figure out, if Young's in here, he'll tell you, that offense, they got to figure that out. But we'll see how they do. We'll see how they do. I may get that. They may fail me first. But it's like I said earlier, and you know this, Baker, because you follow the channel. I mean, I just think Kirby's right. I think Kirby feels good about this team. I think he feels good about what can happen. I think he understands that he has the potential to do something special with this group. And here's the thing. If he, right, think about what happened. All right, now we got something to talk about. Think about what happened. 21 and 22 was the end of an era for college football. Since then, the portal paired with NIL has leveled the field so much, and the parity is so great that 23, a twist of fate, Georgia doesn't get in, so they don't have a shot at the title in 23. They destroyed Florida State in the bowl game. 24, we know what that team was. Not like a classic Georgia team, not as good as the previous teams. And still, through a crazy rash of injuries and all those things, they still won the SEC. Kirby called that his best coaching job and his staff's best coaching job ever last year. And now we're here in 25, where Georgia, again, had over 70% of this team in year 1 or 2 at Georgia. Very new, very young, a lot of inexperienced players being depended on. And yet, they still very much so can go win the SEC. And if they do, just think about what Kirby will say about the coaching job on this team and about this team itself. I mean, we should be crazy proud of this Georgia team if they pull that off. We should be proud of them anyway. But if they go win the thing, if they go win the SEC, that would be a really big deal. Because I guarantee you right now, it don't matter if Gunner comes back or not. Because Puglisi, Montgomery, whoever takes over at quarterback next year, if Gunner goes, the rest of this roster going into 26 positions Georgia to be a preseason top 3 team. If Gunner's back for whatever reason, and Georgia has done really good things here this season, then they might be preseason top 2, just based on who's coming back, that kind of depth and experience. So this Georgia team is very, very talented. They just have to get better. And they can absolutely go win the SEC this year. And again, that would position them so that next year, regardless of whether Gunner's back or not, to be a preseason favorite. So Georgia's not going anywhere. I know people want them to desperately, but Georgia's not going anywhere. They're going to keep being good. That's just what it is. Let me get caught up in the chat here. What's going on? So, Real Too Smart. What's up, hometown, Glenn County, born and raised? Well, represent. Appreciate you dropping in. Yeah, we like it down here. We try to come down. I can't say we make it every year, but we try to get down at least every other year and get down here and check it out. I'll tell you what, Real Too Smart. We came down a couple years ago when my girls were a little bit younger. So that would have been 6 and 8. 5, 6, and 8. I'm not sure if my youngest was 5 or 6. I guess she was 6. 6 and 8. And we came down at Christmas time. Man, I knew it was nice down here at Christmas time, the way they decorate everything. But we could not have loved it more. Like, it literally was magical for them at that age. Hell, it was magical for us as adults. But, there's something about seeing a palm tree wrapped top to bottom in white lights. You know what I mean? And then the big parades, not parades, the park over there where they put the tree up and they wrap all the old trees in those white lights and the Spanish moss is hanging against them. Man, it is just so pretty. It was so cool. So if you have never been to Jekyll around Christmas time, get yourself down here. So PSA, get yourself to Jekyll for Christmas time. It's worth seeing. It is that pretty. Even if I don't even care if you celebrate Christmas. Doesn't matter. We celebrate all the holidays. So, like, everything around the Christmas time, right? So, we celebrate Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. We do all the things because we just got people in our lives who celebrate with us. So, we just wanted to come and see the spectacle and the lights and everything, and it was so much fun to be down here. So salute to Glenn County and Jekyll Island for that one. Real too smart. Bakerman hanging in here with me. Follow this channel. Oh, yeah, please. Nice. Oh, he says he does. Well, thanks. Awesome. Did you like Nick Chubb or Sony Michelle more? Okay, Wicked. All right, this Wicked is asking this question. Now, here's the thing. Between those two, I loved Sony Michelle's versatility, but I bring that up because I think that's what made him special. My favorite running back between the two was Nick Chubb, though. And I looked at Nick Chubb as the pure runner of the two. And I say it that way because when Sony was coming out of Plantation, like Florida, like I thought Sony was the man. And I didn't know much about Nick. And then Nick shows up in Athens and I'm like, look at this cat go. And then Sony, I viewed Sony as a compliment to Nick because of what Sony could do in the pass game. Not to say Nick couldn't do it in the pass game, but he didn't do it the way Sony did it, right? There were occasions where they put Sony in the slot because he was that good with his hands as a receiver. So, but my favorite between those two was Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb. Chris, what's up? Good morning. Chubb for sure. Especially on defense line. Calhoun in the house with Scott. What's up, buddy? Yeah, David Wiggins. Happy to be down here. We are, man. Like I said, we try to get down here. If we don't get here every year, we like to get down here every other year or so. We enjoy it. We were able to bring the puppy with us this time, so that makes it even more fun. We have never been to the water park, Wicked. I need to look that up. The girls would love that. They would love. They're in the pool right now, right over here. They would love the water park. We'll have to look that up. Yeah, man, we're down here in Glen. Well, you mentioned Brunswick. I mean, we're in Jekyll, on Jekyll, I should say. Yeah, there you go. Success in the NFL. And no, Wicked, we're not in Florida. We are on Jekyll Island, the Golden Isles here in Georgia. One of the Golden Isles. St. Simon's is across the way. You know, that's always cool to go to like Driftwood Beach here on Jekyll and look over to St. Simon's, or be over on St. Simon's and look back over to Jekyll. They finally got rid of that ship. Do y'all remember that ship that capsized in the bay and they had to cut it apart? It took, 2 years to get it out of the water. That was insane. My sister-in-law was living on St. Simon's at that time, so we came down here and saw the boat out there. Man, that just makes me sad. Just the industrialization of it all and thinking about the environmental damage something like that does. But I'm happy they finally got it out of here. You miss Brunswick. Are you from Brunswick, Bakerman? Is that what that is? I guess sounds like it, or at least from the area. Wah, wah. Yeah, David, if you're like, have fun on Jekyll, we know our way around fairly well. But if there's anything you think we need to do, like we could mention the water park, if there's anything you think we ought to check out, please let me know, because we're open to whatever. I mean, we literally have no plan. Like my kiddos, they enjoy like science, and they enjoy the nature parks, you know, where you can go and learn about the local animals and the sea turtles and all that kind of stuff. So we might hit that up while we're here. But yeah, we're just here relaxing, trying to figure out what we're doing. We don't have a plan. Waving. Hi. Didn't make it. Let's see. Sapelo Island. Oh, so you are from Brunswick. Nice. Check out Sapelo Island. All right, so Cumberland is the one that, like, essentially nobody lives on, if I remember that right. So Sapelo, I feel like I'm just not remembering what Sapelo. That Sapelo has a cool thing about it too, though, right? Cumberland has the horses. Is that right? And Sapelo. What was the cool thing about Sapelo? If you know, tell me, because Oh, so y'all know each other IRL, as the girls say? Is that right? Or y'all just frequent the same spaces here on YouTube? That's really cool, by the way. Either way, it's really cool. Oh, the white sand. The girls would love that. Because usually when we go to the beach, like, and here, this tells you the girls are kind of growing up a little bit. We have always gone since we had children. Like, our favorite place to go was down to Clearwater in Florida, which is, near Tampa, because it has sugar sand, and it's just laid out really well for families, especially families with littles. There's just very, very easy, a lot of stuff to do, and you can walk everywhere. But from where we live up near Athens, getting down to Tampa, that's like a 10-hour drive. And so when they're smaller, you might think it's more difficult to travel like that. But we made the trip when they were smaller, and we never really had any issues. Now that they're older, they're like, I don't want to be in the car that long. So essentially, we cut this trip in half, right? So it's like 5 hours out to Jekyll. Or if we had chosen to go to, say, Destin, down on the Panhandle, that would have been about the same. Or Jacksonville Beach or something like that. It would have been about the same. But it's about half the time it takes to get to Clearwater. Now that they're older, if we go back to Clearwater, I think they're going to be hitting me up to put them on an airplane, which means we'd have to hop a flight, get down there in an hour or so. And that's fine. It's just that requires, it's more expensive, and you have to make sure you got all your other ducks in a row, and you got to plan it out. And the way our schedules are, this was more of an impromptu trip because we didn't actually decide for certain where we were going to stay. Gosh, I think it was Sunday or Monday, and here we are. We got down here on Wednesday, so I don't know. We probably still could have done it via airplane and gone wherever, but this was good. This is fine and familiar. And the kids at this point, they just want to go have a good time. So, but I'll definitely keep that in mind. The ferry out to Sapelo. Man, I'm going to have to check on that. I'm going to have to look at that. I'll go inside and grab one of those little books, Yeah, I can't even remember the name of the place. What are we staying at? I guess we're staying at the Hampton Inn, maybe? It is really cool here because the pool is literally right here. So, wait, can I flip that? Okay, here we go. So there's the pool. And then right through, you can see it. Between those umbrellas over there's the boardwalk, which leads you back to the ocean. So it's literally over the high dune. And the cool thing about that is it's an elevated boardwalk. So essentially you're walking through the tops of the trees. That walk is kind of worth the price of admission for me. The walk and in the beach. Because that's really cool. It's one of those elevated walks that if you go to like the state parks in this area, sometimes you get to do. Except this one you really are at the treetop. It's not like you're a couple of feet off the deck, you're elevated. I really think that's neat. And the girls dig it, so we're enjoying that. That's good stuff. Yep, ferry to Sapelo, and you're right, man. Clearwater when we go, but see, that's the thing, Baker, is we go usually closer to the shoulder seasons. So, like at the end of school, which for us is usually mid-May, like May 20, somewhere in there, we head to the beach then, or we come in October because we wrap it around our fall break and my daughter's birthday. So we have been more fortunate going to places like Clearwater because it's not at the peak of summer season. And actually, we love it for two reasons. A, what you just said, it's not as crowded. B, we like it because this is more our kind of weather. Like, we are fall people, not necessarily summer people. And C, if you're fortunate, in the shoulder seasons, you can catch lower rates. So for us, it has always worked out better that way, which makes sense. Let's see. Too smart. Man, that makes me miss home. Oh, you've been out in Dallas? Dude, you are not joking about the like little ticky-tacky houses all the same. They're absolutely. I'll tell you who else is in Dallas. And really, if you're on the channel here, you know this. Well, I assume you know this. My buddies Herb and Raj from, they're Alabama fans. But Raj lives out in Arlington. So, if you ever had any interest in meeting somebody in real life and having a football fan friend, he's a family guy. Got 2 baby twins. But Raj is a good dude. So if you ever decide that you want to say hello, you reach out to me and let me know, and I will make the connection for you if you want to meet somebody. Raj is a good dude, though. But yeah, he's out there in Arlington. Let's see. Nice. I appreciate that, Real. The fact that you're here means I must not suck, or at least I must not be boring. The fact that you hung around that long, I appreciate that. I really do. I don't think, and again, if you watch the channel, especially the lives, you hear me say this a lot. I don't think, because YouTube is so ubiquitous these days, like everybody's on it, and by everybody I mean like streaming YouTube TV, or my children exist on YouTube, right? So just that it's everywhere, I think people sometimes just don't understand how much it means to people like me that you guys choose to sub a channel and then watch the stuff, because it's different if you've got, I don't know, pick a number. You've got 50,000 subscribers, right? But 50,000 people aren't watching your videos, then what good does having 50,000 subscribers do you? Whereas if you've got 9, like I do, 9,000, and you're consistently getting views that, make sense for that number of followers, and occasionally, videos that do double that, triple that, then that's exciting, because that means people are actually watching your stuff and engaging with you in a community, and that's what I want this channel to be, man. So I really do appreciate it. That's right. Those Longhorns, man. Those Longhorns. I ain't saying too much this year. I bet they are. There's a dude, and I'm not throwing shade when I say this, but there's a dude over on TikTok. To the House, I think is what his channel's called. To the House Sports or something. He's a Texas fan. I think he's a Texas fan. The only thing he ever talks about is Georgia. So he's looking for engagement. He's trying to get people, to talk about whatever. And so he's talking about Georgia. And it's like I say all the time, it's a big game because Georgia's in it. So if he over on TikTok was constantly like tagging me and stuff, trying to get me to, and y'all know how TikTok works. You can stitch and go back and forth and video reply and all that. And I'm like, man, that's just not my game. Like, the fact that I'm doing a vertical live here on YouTube is insane to me. Like, I can't tell you, people think TikTok is so simple and easy. And it is if your brain is wired for it. My brain is not necessarily wired for short form, let me post everything all the time videos. That's just not how I communicate. And so I can do snippets for TikTok, and that makes sense. But just being on TikTok all the time is not something that computes in my brain. So I just have a harder time posting on TikTok, it seems. So the fact that I'm doing a vertical live here, kind of mimicking the short form. What? You do what you want to do. Go for it. Y'all do whatever you want to do. Yeah, it's just weird to me. I don't know. So here we are, vertical live on YouTube. If y'all love it, let me know. Hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, whatever. Let me know. Oh, hey, Carol. Secretly at work. We love that. We love that. Carol, by the way, since you're secretly listening, proof that those notifications work, so I'm happy about that. Bakerman confirmed. Since you're at work, Carol, whenever Alice is my wife, and whenever we used to go, like when we were dating, and well, even when we were married, for the first 15 years of our marriage, before we had children, when we could just run off, we'd go to the movies or something, and she used to always talk about contraband, right? So she'd sneak in some like Smarties, Sweet Tarts, or something like that in her pocket. Contraband. So that's all this is. This is contraband podcasting. Renegade. What would be a good radio term? Renegade podcasting, rogue podcasting, sneaking it in at work. Got to get in where you fit in. You know what I mean? Oh me. Oh yeah, check out Ghoul's Inlet on St. Simon's. Ghoul's Inlet. Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that one. We did see, coming in last night, we came in on the coastal highway, so we got to come over the bridge, which tickled the girls pink. It was fun for us too, because we came over right at sunset, so that was a nice view. And they had signs on the coastal highway saying ghost tours down here on Jekyll, which I'd never thought about. So I'm not sure if we've got, I'm not sure what the ghostly history is here on Jekyll, but, you know, given Georgia, it's probably just the history of the state. You know, there's probably quite a few ghost stories tied to Jekyll. Everything from pirates to slavery to the penal colony. I'm sure there are ghost stories here in Jekyll. Something about these trees. Y'all help me out. I cannot remember the name of the big sprawling trees that are everywhere here. Are they oaks? I think they're oaks. I think they're an oak, but I don't remember. Maybe water oaks. Maybe they're water oaks. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If I'm wrong, or if you just know, please tell me, because I can't remember, and I obviously haven't looked it up yet. But it's beautiful down here, though. I love to see those trees, you know, draped with Spanish moss and stuff. I told my girls all about the Spanish moss. I'm like, don't mess with it, though. You get those red mites, or I guess we called them chiggers when I was growing up. Same kind of thing. Like, don't mess with that Spanish moss. It'll get you, especially in the summer. Oh, yeah. See, there you go. Oak trees. Yep. Is it a water oak? I think it's water oak. Maybe. Not sure. I crossed the Sidney Lear Bridge. Oh, cool. That is cool. You walked it? Wow. Good for grilling. You mean as a starter? A fire starter? I assume that's what you mean. Yep, pecan trees. Love them. Love them. You know, Joe's down in Dublin, which is, well, 16 breaks off just a little bit after Dublin to get you out here. Well, one way to get you out here. And they have pecan orchards out that way. I'm sure they have them down here too. But they have those pecan orchards, and those are beautiful to look at, the way they line them up. Good stuff. Heck yeah, that moss kept the fire. Dudes, that's good to know. That's good to know. In another life, before I was focused on talking about Georgia all the time and football all the time, did y'all know I've written a book? It was and I was focused on, and I was a consultant as a personal preparedness guy. So how to get your house ready for emergencies, disasters, that kind of stuff. And I know all kinds of fun fire building secrets, water secrets, not secrets, but techniques, skills, And I actually wrote a book with a buddy of mine who was a New York Times bestseller. And the name of the book is Personal Preparedness, No Apocalypse Required. And you'll see my name and my face right there on the book. And his name is Stephen Conkley. Steve writes thrillers, and at the time he was writing post-apocalyptic novels. And so that's how we got tied together, was around the apocalypse. And that was a good story and a good book. He wrote a series of books called the Perseid. The first one was called the Perseid Collapse, but essentially that was the whole series. It was a 3-book series. And so he wrote the first book, and then the second book and the third book I consulted on, which is how we got tied up together. And then we wrote a book together after that, which was a basic how-to guide for anybody who had any interest in being more prepared or just preparing your household. So that exists in the world. But we wrote that book in 2012 or 2014, maybe. So it was at least 10 years ago. And Steve's still a good buddy of mine. But now I do Georgia stuff. And there's a story behind how all of that happened too. I was always a Georgia fan, but as y'all know, if you follow the channel, then I'm a career sports journalist. So my job was covering sports. And I could not talk the way I talk about Georgia now when I was doing that full time, because you had a conflict of interests, and I always had to protect, the company first. I could have an opinion, I could be a fan, but I couldn't do what I do now. And so the fact that I'm not doing that full time anymore frees me up to do Georgia stuff full time, which makes me super happy. But you have to build it, so this is my work now. This is my business. And so when I tell you that I appreciate you being here, or anything you do ever to help me grow the business, sharing, liking, any of those things, I mean it, because none of it happens unless you guys are out there helping. So I appreciate it. I cannot believe that something I did on a whim has gone almost an hour. Unbelievable. Thank you guys for hanging in here with me. Real Too Smart says, I'll check that out for sure. Yeah, man, beautiful. It's a fun book. Steve's funny, and there are excerpts of the series that he wrote. The first book in the series was the Jakarta, Jakarta, the Jakarta pandemic. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It is a pandemic that goes real bad. So then you got to overcome it and survive through the pandemic. And then that same family and community that's impacted in that book is hit later by an impact that causes a tsunami on the American coastline. It's based in Maine. So let's just say the tsunami hitting that coastline is not a good thing. And now they have to deal with surviving that, right? And just everything that comes with it. Do you want a card? Okay. Can you come around? There you go. Y'all good?
Yeah. They're hungry.
Yeah, I knew they'd be getting hungry now. We got to figure that part out. Sorry, y'all. The missus. Sounds like we gotta go find some lunch. So anyway, the Jakarta pandemic, the Perseid collapse series, there are snippets from those stories in the book that we wrote together as an example of a situation. So if we're talking about water purification, then he references a scene from one of his books to set the stage. He gives his perspective on what to do and how his author brain works in terms of solving a problem. And then as the consultant on the subject, I would offer the nuts and bolts of how to do it, right? So that's how we worked together on that book. It was fun. We had a good time. So at the time, because I was working as a sports journalist, my fun was studying and talking about the apocalypse, because I love it. Who doesn't love an apocalypse story? So there was an apocalypse. What's up, baby? Hi. I did the apocalypse for fun, which a lot of people looked at and was like, you're nuts. I'm like, man, the thing that most people do for fun, I have to do for work. So I got to find something that interests me to do for fun. And that was the apocalypse. So that's how I was doing that 10 years ago. But now that I am not bound by non-compete agreements and things like that, I can come over here and talk my first passion, which is Georgia and college football. So there you go. See, what you get on the Vertical Live is you get the origin story of the How About That Dogscast, right? Didn't know that was going to happen today. I didn't know that was going to happen today. But now y'all know. Help me out. Drop it in the chat or leave a comment, please, and let me know if you think I should retell that story or maybe put it in a video or something on the channel so people can find it and learn more about the channel. Is it interesting like that, or is it not like that? Is that not how it goes? You just trying to photobomb me? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
All right, well, look. There she is. Oh, and then she ducks. Then she ducks. All right. But yeah. Oh, wait. Is that the applause emoji? Cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, so do you think I ought to retell that story, retell the origin story of how and what this process was for me? Oh, if you don't want to be on camera, I don't want to put you on camera. Okay. So how and what the origin story of the channel was, because that's pretty cool. Oh, guys, I'm going to tell, since we're spilling secrets, I'm going to give you guys another secret. They say you shouldn't talk about something until it's done. So it's just between me and you and the internet, right? But I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to tell you anyway. Here's the thing, and I've been thinking about this since the spring. So a couple things. One of them I won't spend too much time on. We'll talk about it in a different point. But the second thing I want to take just a half a second and explain before we get off here. So the first thing is, because I'm doing multiple things now around Georgia football and YouTube and all these things, one of the things that I've taken on is a coaching availability. So especially if you're over 40, if YouTube is a thing that you're interested in learning about, as when I was a professional in the newsroom journalist, one of the things that I did was serve as a lead trainer on teaching people how to edit well and do a good job. And I've done enough time here on YouTube that I have a pretty good understanding of how YouTube works. So one of the things that I do is offer coaching availability. So if you care about it, if you want to start a channel, if you have a business and you want to use YouTube to promote your business or whatever, any of those things are things that I could assist you with. If you want to do that, or if you know anybody that wants to do that, please let them know and have them reach out, because that's something that I'm also passionate about. That's my form of coaching, is coaching people on doing YouTube in an effective way. So that's the small thing. The big thing, but that's out there. I launched that in June, so everybody knows about that. The thing that people don't know about, here's the secret, is I mentioned I've written one book. Technically, I have written 2 books and a novella, again, in the apocalyptic space. I'm working on a book right now in the Georgia space, so around Kirby Smart. And it's not like a biography or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. It's about what makes him and what he's built at Georgia different and special. And I really am excited about the root of it all. There will be accompanying videos to help explain it in the run-up to the publishing of the book. And it is something that, because the project is a big project, I have to do it a bite at a time, right? How do you eat the elephant? One bite at a time. So I'm having to do small things, but I'm constantly working on it. And I'm sharing that with you here now, which is something nobody else knows about. So if you have questions about it, and I can answer them, I will. If I can't, or you don't care, then that's fine. But just know it's out there, it's coming. There are a lot of people that are like, that's an awesome idea. So I'm pretty fired up about it. So we'll see how it goes. And one of the cool things is I've had an opportunity to go be a public speaker and speak to groups as a podcast host about Georgia. And when I talk to those people about this idea, this concept, they have all said that is really cool, because we're not talking X's and O's. We're not talking football. We're talking the kind of lessons that work everywhere in life. But we apply those things to what Kirby's done at Georgia. So if you're a Georgia fan or a Georgia person, or just a fan of people that are successful and you want to know how they are successful, this book looks at how that happens and why it happens. It's not an accident. Not everybody does it. If everybody did it, then everybody would be successful like this, but that's not the truth. So anyways, that's coming as fast as I can get it out. And there will be more information as we get closer. But I believe this is the first time I've spoken about it publicly. So thanks for being here and listening. Yeah. Somebody is bored. What's up, that boy? We have been going 70 minutes and my babies are inside now. I think it's about time for us to go find lunch. We're looking at 11:30. So I'm going to take these recommendations from the live. So who was it? The Real Too Smart, thank you. Bakerman, thank you. And for the information, the Moss tip, as well as the ideas about, you know, the water park and Sapelo Island and all that stuff. Gold's Inlet. We may have been there before, real too, because like I said, my sister-in-law lived on St. Simon's for a couple of years, so I may not remember the name, but we may have been there. I know for a fact that we went over to where the lighthouse is, and there's the nice dock. Is it a dock, a pier? I don't know what you call it. But that walking space, and there's the playground out there. I know we did that. So we did some stuff over there. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's up. Don't worry, Turble. I've already got commitments for more than 5, so. But you keep trolling, bro. Keep it up. Good work. All right, everybody. I'm done. Thanks for hanging out with us. Like I said, maybe we'll do this again tomorrow. Maybe we'll do it all week. Maybe, if I have an opportunity, we can do something before the game on Saturday. That'd be cool. We'll just have to see. Like I said, I'm on vacation, so if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, I'll catch y'all on the other side. Y'all have a good day. Stay safe out there. It's going to be a lot of rain. I said we could have some flooding down here around the coast. So, you know, whatever you're doing, be safe out there. And I don't know how I end this thing, but I will talk to you guys next time. Go Dogs.